Hey, peace and blessings to you. My name is Jerry B. I am the Entre Musician, and so are you. And you know what? I don't know if my lovely guest is an Entre Musician or not, but I know this. A, she has an infectious laugh, okay? Number two is she is one of the smartest women I know outside of my wife and my three daughters. And she is an incredible friend, has built an amazing business. This is Deanna Hinsz from Sassy Girl Media. What's happening?
Hey, thank you.
How are you?
I'm doing well, really well. Thank you. How about you?
I'm doing fantastic. I don't have one of those crazy blankets and that fuzzy pillow behind me, you know.
Hey, your office should be comfortable, right? You spend a lot of time in there.
You look like you're ready to settle in right after our conversation.
You know what? I've never actually laid on that, but it's there just in case, right?
Man, it looks comfortable. I tell you what, when you get as old as I am, you think about naps a little bit more and more. You know.
True story.
But how you doing? I mean, I was just on your platform like a month, maybe a month and a half ago, and here we are.
Yes, thank you for having me on. I actually have something to share with you that you didn't know before this, but I guess your audience will be the first to know. I am going through a full rebrand with my business right now.
I see.
So Sassy Girl Media will no longer be.
No,
Which means I need a new podcast intro because I love that. That's probably, as crazy as this might sound, the intro that you created for my podcast was the biggest reason of why I didn't change the name earlier, because I love it. Totally love it.
Well, your laugh makes it. I mean, that's it. Forget the music. Forget that. You just laugh.
I know, and it's part of my intro. And you made it that, and I loved it. But the name is going to actually be CARBONSILK.
Carbon,
yeah, okay. Like carbon fiber.
Yeah.
And silk. And it's I know it's a different name, right? It doesn't have the sassy girl, but it's neutral to men and women, because sassy girl, I had a lot of men asking, do you work with men? And I'm like, of course I work with men, right? Yeah. But it alienated them a little bit.
Gotcha.
And carbon and silk are both very strong. Carbon fiber is very strong. Anything carbon is necessary to live. And silk is, there's this elegance to it. So the two of them together, carbon I view as the strategy and silk as the design. So CARBONSILK is about to be born. but it is not shared yet. So
when are you rolling it out? Are you rolling it out in a couple months or a couple weeks? Or
no, I've been working on it for a while. January 1st. I don't know when this will air, but January 1st, it will be out. It looks like I'm on track for that to happen. So just getting all the business, legal, all that stuff that goes on behind the scenes squared away, and of course getting the website completed. But I think we're on pace. For that.
Well, you can do that. So, what I have to do right now, ladies and gentlemen, is I have to reintroduce, because the introduction that I did is just not, ladies and gentlemen, Deanna Hinsz from CARBONSILK. Hey, Deanna.
Thank you. You're the first one to ever introduce me that way.
It's amazing. I was going to ask, that was one of my questions though, really was, with a name like Sassy Girl, do you, because are we able to be involved, because it does alienate just a little bit, but I thought that was something, and forgive my naivete, but I thought it was something for women. It's women's empowerment, and just, which I'm all for, three daughters, let's roll with it. But I thought we were a little left out. I never expressed it, but I just, I thought,
I get it. I totally get it. You're not the only one who felt that way. And to be honest, when Sassy Girl Media happened, it was by accident. There was no branding strategy. The thought that went into this next phase never happened with Sassy Girl. It literally came down to wine with a friend of mine, and we named it and cheers to it. And the next day it was born. I mean, about as basic as you can get. And my target audience, it has been women. That doesn't mean I don't have a male clients. It's probably a good ratio. I'm going to say 60% women, 40% male, but
that was more than I expected. That was more than I expected. I thought maybe 80-20, you know, with the ratio. But now before, because I have a couple questions that I want to ask, but before I do, you have an absolutely incredible story that everyone who listens or watches this will immediately resonate with you, because you came from an interesting place to build this great empire. And I mean empire, I'm not saying that to flatter you, but you are really scaling, and I'm very proud of you because you're just moving forward. But would you mind sharing a little bit of your story so that, you know, because I think it's just incredible to me.
I will definitely share the story of how it happened. As I mentioned earlier, where I am now happened by accident. This was not my plan. However, it was someone else's plan, right? I just wasn't kept in the loop of that. So I didn't know. I was a single mom. My boys were 10 and 11 years old at the time. And I was working in corporate America. I had an amazing job. I had a job that pretty much fit every need you could imagine. So it was a week before Christmas, and we're stressed at work because we had just acquired another company. So we knew that people were going to be losing their jobs in January. We just didn't know who or how or what it would look like. So I was stressed out. My youngest son, who was 10 at the time, came up to me and said, Mom, I know what I want for Christmas, and I only want one thing. Now, Jerry, you've got 3 girls, right? So when they were younger, if they only want one thing, typically it is the most expensive thing, or it is something that you're not going to find the week before Christmas, right? It's one of those hot items.
That's right.
So I was angry. I was stressed out. And I am sure that my son heard the frustration in my voice when I turned to him and said, What do you want? And he looked at me and said, Mom, the only thing that I want for Christmas is to be able to spend one day home with you, sitting on the couch, having hot chocolate and watching a movie like we used to. Instantly, I became the worst mom in the world. I had no idea what he was talking about. So I called my other son in, Petey. Alex was the one who brought it up to me, and Petey was my older son who was in his room, and I sat them down, and it was almost as if they had rehearsed it, and they both said, Mom, we miss you. Like, you miss our baseball games, you miss our school events. And I tried to explain to them that, listen, guys, like, you know, this house just doesn't pay for itself. You know, you have everything you want. You go on vacation, you have all your video games, like everything that was really important to them, they had. Their response was like, we know, we don't care. We want you.
That's beautiful.
So it really is, but it was scary. So I painted a super ugly picture of what it would look like, right? If I left my job, because I didn't know what to do. They didn't care. They just wanted me present. So I quit my job. Super crazy. It's kind of funny because at the time when I quit, there was a peace over me. I wasn't as nervous. Looking back, I am like, that was the craziest decision you have ever made. Yeah. Yet I was at total peace. And again, I credit God. This whole journey is not me. It's God. God's hand. He had this path laid out. I didn't know what was happening. Yes. But I was at peace. I looked for a job, and to find a job that had the flexibility that my kids desired and the income that I desired is pretty much impossible to find.
Understood.
So I made the decision to bake out of my home. Now, you know, you're probably thinking, what does baking have to do with marketing, right? Well, hang tight, because I'm getting there. It's a little bit of a long story, but all of these little pieces,
they hook.
All these pieces connect. I started baking out of my home and I actually made cake pops. Now, at the time, everybody knows what cake pops are now, but 12 years ago, not really, at least not in Ohio. In fact, I looked on the whole East Coast and couldn't find anybody. There was somebody in Atlanta and there was somebody in Texas that made them. I changed the name of what they were called and started making them. I started selling them online. I learned how to build a website. It was painful. And I used Facebook and Twitter to promote my business. Now, at that time, people really weren't using it for business. There were a lot of businesses on Facebook and Twitter, but not really. They were more of the side hustles.
Yeah.
I ended up winning Top Mom in Business from Discover Card and Startup Nation. And that's when I got a lot of local publicity. And it was also at that time that mainly women started reaching out to me saying, can we get coffee? Because I just need to pick your brain. How did you do what you did?
Yeah.
And everybody had the same questions. I was getting coffeeed out. So I started doing workshops and teaching them how to market their business on Facebook at the time, because now it was starting to grow in popularity. Fast forward, for 7 years, I helped women just launch their business. And one day when people started calling and I had no idea who they were, I realized that, wait a second, I think I have another business model here. Like, I think I'm going to help businesses grow their online presence. And that's when Sassy Girl Media started. And now we're entering a new phase of our business. And now Carbon Silk is here. So that is the whole pathway. There is no way I could have done that journey or planned that journey on my own. Absolutely impossible.
Now, would you tell us how old your boys are now?
Yes, they are 22 and 23.
So the hard grind, 10 years old, watching mom just create this incredible thing because of one question. I love that. I love it. I love it. I love it, because you had the fortitude. So I think the whole thing is not all God. You know, we give glory to him, but he's looking for the things that he's downloaded into you and said, okay, Deanna, you have to step out on faith in order to make this happen. Because I believe if you were trying to do both, it just, first of all, you would not have seen your kids. You know, secondly, you would not have discovered all of the things that you've discovered about yourself.
That's so true. You know? That is so true. Because I'll tell you what, when you're going through junk, because it was hard. I'm not somebody that's going to paint this picture like, oh, it was easy and the floodgates open and money came pouring in and it was a walk in the park. That is not the case at all. It was not like, it was hard. It was financially hard. It was a roller coaster ride. And when you're going through that time, when there's highs and there's lows and you're questioning, why did I do this? Why did I make this decision? Can I make it? And then you decide, yes, I will, and I'm going to fight through this. You absolutely do discover a whole lot about yourself in that process.
Absolutely. And so my point was the fact that, you know, the Lord says, okay, so, you know, I put those things in Deanna, but she doesn't know it. And you know what I mean? And unless you're pressed and you step out on faith and then you discover it, and he goes, hey, it was in you all the time. And that's what I think the blessing is. That's just incredible, because to see what you've done, I mean, you've come from our hometown. I'm here in Youngstown, but you're in a place which is far more sunnier right now.
It is a little bit sunnier here. I'm in Florida, and it's in the 80s right now, and it's Christmas, and it doesn't really feel like Christmas because you're in flip-flops and walking around, but that's okay. I'll take it.
Yeah, we from the Northeast, we thank you for, you know, the weather report. You know, one of the things that I'm discovering, and, you know, one of the things that we like to convey to entre musicians that we work with is the advice that you really need to get a coach. The first thing is you should have a team. And I know you put a team together when you were here in Ohio, as well as working with and having a team where you are. I think that's first, because you have to have like-minded people who at least understand the direction that you're trying to move into. But for a long time, I really shunned coaching. I thought coaching was just like, you know, somebody wants to get some money out of me to tell me things that if I spent time in the library or online, I can learn myself. But how wrong I was. And knowing that you have counseled so many businesses in their online presence, what is your value that you place on a coach? Now, I think I know the answer, but I want you to share your perspective on the importance of coaching.
I'm curious to hear your answer after I
Sure.
answer what you think.
Sure.
I absolutely think that having a coach is vital. And I'm not just saying that because I do coach.
Right.
I have a coach myself.
Yeah.
And it is so important. And I believe that the importance is you want somebody who's knowledgeable.
Mhm.
And they need to really understand how the brain works too. It's not just the surface stuff, right? Anything that you can Google or look up on the internet, we all have those little quotes that can motivate us.
Sure.
You got to go deeper. You have to know how to pull those layers, pull them apart, right? Get to the core of what's happening.
That's
You
right.
need somebody who's going to hold you accountable, right?
That's it.
Because I know I need that. I need that kick in the butt. And I need
Exactly.
somebody who's going to listen.
Yeah.
Really listen to what I'm saying. And I try to really listen, because a lot of times the very first, if Jerry, if you would come to me and say, we need to talk and here's my problem, chances are good that's really not your problem. Chances are good, as we continue to talk, we're going to find out there's something else that's really blocking your growth or getting in the way, and usually it's us.
Yeah.
We get in our own way, right?
But
true. How do you find that? How do you figure that out and walk down that path so that somebody can say, this is it, right? And here's some things you can do to remove it, but you have to do the work.
That's true.
If you think there's no magic wand waving over anybody's head. You've got to put the work in and really discover yourself in that process. You have to be open to wanting, and you've got to really just do the work. And that's why that accountability piece is so important as well.
No, you're absolutely right. I mean, the one thing that I found is people who are very successful have coaches. I just thought, okay, coaches were for the entry level, and I got it now. I'm in the second grade and I can move on from there. But I've talked to some amazing people, Michelle Weiss Maslin, who has countless awards, and she has like 5,000 placements in film and TV. And she gets on a call and she says, hey, I want to introduce you guys to my coach. But then we know Tiger Woods and all of these great people who are the best. You think of what they do, they sit down and talk to someone else who, as you said, hold themselves accountable. So what do you think then? Because you are a coach who has a coach, for the entre musician out there, male and female, since we're now at Carbon Silk. What do you think is there some things that they should do to prepare themselves for coaching? I think I know the answer, but I want to hear yours, because you can't just make a call. Hey, I realize this need. I was watching the Entre Musician. I need to have a coach. What are some things they need to set into place before taking that next step?
I think mentally you need to be ready for it. I really think it's a mindset of being ready, right? And we can kind of compare this to going to the gym, right? People want to go to the gym and they're like, yeah, or I'm gonna start that diet in January, right? January, I'm gonna start that diet. I'm gonna go to the gym, and they do it, but that commitment's not really there, right? Because when it gets uncomfortable or inconvenient, then we stop. So what I think is that you really have to have that commitment, and you really have to be prepared to do the work and to fight through those times, because you're not going to feel like it. It's so easy to come up with excuses, right? We're great at it. We're all amazing at coming up with excuses. But you have to really be ready for it, and you have to be open-minded, so that and transparent. Because if I'm going to meet with my coach and I want to paint a picture that everything is wonderful, right? I'm doing myself a disservice.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, as business owners, as entre musicians, we only like to share our highlight reel. there's 20% of our
good.
business that we only talk to the very closest people to us. The part where we're scared, the part where we're not sure if we're going to succeed, the part where we doubt ourselves, right?
Yes.
We don't share that with the world, but we know what goes on in our head. Well, you've
Yes.
got to be open and transparent if you're going to work with a coach, to share those, to let them help you and guide you down the path so that you can eliminate those fears.
Yeah.
So that's what I think. That's my opinion. I think you just have to be ready and commit.
So what about then? What if you don't know what you don't know? How do you prepare yourself to get ready? Is it just saying, okay, oh my God, I have to do this, or is it where, like, if you're in marketing? Well, we're talking primarily to entree musicians, so we'll keep that
Yes,
there.
absolutely.
But um, so you have songwriters, you have producers, you have instrumentalists. Is it like, well, you know what? I need to move my career from here to here. How do I prepare myself in order to do that? I know I'm laying something very heavy on you, but
Yeah. You know
you
what? I
know,
mean, if you just heard my story, I'm just one that jumps in and does it. I don't know. Like,
gotcha.
I really do.
Yeah.
I would say if you want to grow your business and you want to grow your career in music, hire a coach.
Hmm.
There is everybody has a coach, like you said. Coaches are there to help you get past that level that you can't get past yourself. So I would just jump in and hire somebody and work
Yeah.
with them. Do a little research to find out who you want to hire,
Hmm.
right? So maybe that's some of the homework I would do beforehand. I'd want somebody that's an expert in the area that I'm in.
Yeah.
I'd like, you know, I'd like to know that that person has understands and has helped others in
So
my area.
so those are some things you can ask for: references, going online, doing a LinkedIn search, and an investigation, so to speak. Is that?
Absolutely. Yeah. And I mean, ask somebody you know who is working with a coach what they think, and what, it may be the same coach that can help you. But
Mhm.
referrals are great. People will give you their honest answer, right? If you
Yes.
ask them. And if they love their coach, they will refer them and tell you about them. So, yeah, do your research and find somebody that's credible.
Mhm.
Unfortunately, the downside of coaching, and I do believe that this is why sometimes people don't, is that a lot of people call themselves a coach without any training
Hmm.
or experience. Okay. Now, I
Okay.
do believe that you should have some type of training. However, I also know that there are some amazing coaches who have had experience and they
Mhm.
know the ins and outs, and they're very knowledgeable, and they've gone through things that a book or a class or a certification wouldn't teach them.
Yeah.
But you have to decipher that. You've got to really do the homework, because there's a lot of fake people out there as well
Mm-hmm.
that are saying that they can help, but they really don't have that skill set. So absolutely do your homework and ask questions.
Now, do you recommend group coaching or one-on-one when you're first starting out?
That's personal. It's up to you.
Okay.
I like a combination of both. I think the group coaching has its place. But if I really want to get down to the core of me, if I want to accelerate it, I want that one-on-one attention. I want to make sure that, this is just me. Because a coach is talking to several people. It might be the same topic. Some people may be further ahead, some people may be a little bit behind, but everybody's in a different place.
Right.
So it could get a little watered down, or may not speak directly to you during that group session, where another one may speak to you 100%.
Yeah.
But that one-on-one, I think, is important. Sometimes group coaching is less expensive.
Hmm.
It is less expensive
Hmm.
than one-on-one coaching. So if your budget doesn't allow for the one-on-one,
Yeah.
jump in on a group coaching, because people in your industry can absolutely help you and lift you. And and if budget is a problem and you're starting out and you're like, I just can't afford to pay for a coach,
Yeah.
group coaching, or a individual coach, reach out to a mentor.
Hmm.
Look for somebody in your industry that you really respect,
Yeah.
and see if maybe you can do something for them in
Hmm.
return for some of their time and attention to mentor you. There's always a way. We can always find excuses, but there's always a way to make something happen if you want it bad enough.
That is good. That is good. Now, speak to that. You talked a little bit about the expenses, but that's a tough nut to crack. That's like a hurdle. And you knew how we grew up. If you know Youngstown, Ohio, I mean, there can be a sense, and this is no disrespect to my city, but there can be a sense of this poverty mentality. You know what I mean? So, you can look at something that's, let's just say hypothetically 25,000, or I mean 2,500 to $3,000 or $4,500 and go, oh my gosh, that is so expensive. I'm not going to do that. And that's one thing I feel that you have to get over. What do you think about that?
I agree with you. If you don't invest in yourself, you're never going to grow. If you don't invest in your business, you're never going to grow. You have to invest, but it's scary,
Yeah, it is.
especially when you're starting out.
Yeah.
I really believe there's two mindsets, right? You have a mindset of abundance and you have a mindset of scarcity.
Yes.
And we all kind of fall in one of those areas more than the other. There may be times where it shifts, but a mindset of scarcity is exactly what you said. I don't have that, right? You don't want to lose that client. Somebody starts, they write a song or they're at a venue and all of a sudden somebody else who's seen as a competitor writes a similar song or shows up at the same venue, right? And you get angry. You're like, wait a minute, like back off already. Like go find something else. Like you can do anything you want. Like why are you on me like that?
Right.
That's a mindset of scarcity, right? And the reason we act like that is because we want to hold on. We believe that that person is taking something from us. If that venue hires them, that means that they won't hire me, right?
Okay,
and I think we've all been through that.
So good. That's so
the
good.
Mindset, huh?
That's so good. Keep going. That's
the
absolutely
mindset
right.
of abundance is that there's enough for everybody.
Yeah.
So when somebody does that and they're on you or they're doing things similar to you, it's okay. Let them do it because people are going to be drawn for you. Nobody can duplicate you. They can try, but they can't. So just be who you are. That mindset of abundance is that, okay, if they're going to be booked at that venue, you know what? Maybe I'm going to get booked at this other venue and make even more money.
Correct.
And there's enough for everybody. So when you shift gears and you're like, you know what? I'm not going to live in this mindset of scarcity. And I agree, a lot of us who grew up there had that mindset of scarcity because of how we grew up, right?
Yeah, right.
You have to hold on. I mean, Youngstown is a group of fighters and, we've gone through tough times. So we were taught to hang on, to save, to, and we're taught that scarcity mindset, but you've got to jump over to that abundance. You've got to trust, you have to have faith, you've got to believe that there is enough for everybody. Absolutely. And you're going to be your own. As long as you do the work, the people that are going to buy your album or hire you to write that song for them, they're going to find you. They will find you, but you have to believe and you've got to invest in yourself in order to do that.
I like that so much, boy. You guys play this part over and over and over again because you are absolutely right. And it's the investment in yourself that absolutely matters. So don't think about how much it costs. Think about the return you're going to get. Because when my wife, she has this coach that is like, when we first saw the invoice, is thinking like, but by God's grace, she said, well, I'm going for it. And man, in just a couple of transactions, the entire coaching process paid for itself because she followed what she was told to do. It's an amazing thing. And so, it is an investment. And what Deanna says is absolutely on point. It's the return that you get. So save the pennies. Most have payment plans if they're way out there, and work the couple extra hours at your day job. Whatever you have to do, it's worth the investment in yourself. So I really wanted to know what you thought about that. And you nailed it.
Oh, thank you. I'll share another little thing. I'll try not to geek out too much because I really am a nerd.
Well, roll with it. The Nerd Express. Roll.
I'm a total nerd. Yeah. My degree's in psychology, mine's in biology and sociology, right? So when it comes to the brain, I totally geek out. I am the person reading the studies and I'm a nerd. So, But there is this part of the brain. So this is real, right? And if you remember this, I believe it will help people on their path when they want something, right? A lot of people might do a vision board or believe like, I could just put pictures up and magic happens. Well, it doesn't just happen like that. But there is this part of our brain that our brain will believe everything we tell it. So when you visualize a goal that you want, if you see a picture of it or you desire it, your brain will find a way to get you there. For example, you go car shopping, right? And you're like, I want that black BMW with, black interior. You think of all the features you want on that car, right? And it's going to be just amazing. Like, I'm going to get that car. So you go shopping for it. You're looking at it. Next thing you know, every car on the road is that black BMW with that black interior, right?
Absolutely.
And you're like, wait a minute, did everybody just go car shopping? No, they didn't go car shopping. It's because you told your brain, you focused on a goal of what you wanted, and your brain found a way, it seeks it out. Those opportunities for ourselves, for our business, are around us all the time, and we miss them.
That's right.
When you set that goal, you set that vision, your brain now is alerted when those opportunities present itself. They don't magically appear. They're always there. But now they alert you and you're like, oh, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. And soon, before you know it, you're going down this path to where your goal is. So it is in our brain. I mean, we are wired for success. We just have to believe it.
My goodness, that is fantastic. We are wired for success. We are put here for purpose. Man, you know what? We don't have 2 hours today, Deanna. But I mean, you bring up such wonderful points because you're right. And what is that thing called? The reticular or
reticular activating system. Yeah. I mean, I talk about it a lot.
Exactly.
I love that.
And you're right. What you're looking at, because you're looking at it for a reason. And I'm a big fan of affirmations. We write down our affirmations. We speak them because we want to keep them on our mind. Now, it's not, this hocus pocus type stuff. But if you're speaking it, if you're looking at it, you're moving in that direction.
Yes, absolutely. They're powerful. Absolutely. They are powerful, more powerful than people realize. And that's why I say it over and over again, because we have that control.
That's right.
We can't blame other people for getting in our way. We control our path. We have complete control over that. And we need to know that and understand it so that we quit pointing fingers and we just drive.
That's right. Wipe out the excuses, get done with
That's it.
Now, here's what I want to know. And this is probably the most important part of our conversation today. And I know that there's a way, but how do entre musicians benefit from a company like CARBONSILK?
Oh, there's so many ways. If they're looking,
yes, there are.
Like, yes, where do we begin?
Yes, there are. That's why you're here.
So many ways. So there are a lot of different layers of CARBONSILK. CARBONSILK is a digital marketing and consulting agency. So if an entre musician wants to promote their brand, we're the ones to come to. We can help them create that brand, promote that brand, get that website up, lock in that SEO, create that YouTube channel for them, help them promote that. And then if they want to do it on their own, we can also teach them everything they need to do it on their own. So, and that's the consulting piece, right? Yeah. Some people are like that. They're like, I just really want to learn how to do it so I can manage it. That's cool.
Right.
That's cool. We're not going to hold you hostage for anything. We'll just give you the full picture strategy. If you want to grow your brand, here's how you do it. And then you can pick and choose which pieces you want to work with us on, what you want us to help you learn, and what you want to do yourself.
Excellent. That's excellent. And people can get in touch with you in many amazing ways. Now, I would imagine that if you're going through the rebranding process, what is the first step? If somebody hears this and they want to contact you tomorrow, what do you suggest they do?
Well, my email is set up. So you can email me directly at Deanna@CARBONSILK.DIGITal.
Okay.
The website will be up January 1st. So CARBONSILK.DIGITal is the domain. Excellent. Or you can, I'm on LinkedIn, Deanna Hinsz. You can go to Sassy Girl Media, because that page is up right now, sassygirlmedia.com. And you'll be able to connect with me there as well. But then once Carbon Silk happens, everything will be directed to the new site. So we're kind of right in the middle of stuff, but you can find me.
That's excellent. I am so grateful. I really mean this. And you know, this won't be our last conversation, whether it's here on this platform or offline. You know, I'm so grateful of watching the journey and being in a small way part of the journey. I mean, you've been an incredible help to my daughter, Ayana, and she still looks up to you and still goes to, well, she still goes to Sassy Media to check you out and whatnot. But I'll have to tell her about the change. She is, and she's doing great. But, you know, just you partnering with her when she was trying to get her platform off the ground, and you just came in just like, you know, no air. You're just like Deanna. You just like,
well, you know, you are amazing, and I am grateful for our friendship. I truly am, and your family is amazing. You're just good people, really good people, and yeah, I am grateful. I'm grateful that you guys are in our lives, because you don't find quality people like you guys often. So when you do, you've got to hang on to them. So thank you.
Definitely. Well, you know, this won't be our last conversation at all, but I know that there was a question that you thought, you know, when we were hooking this up and scheduling this out, that you thought I was going to ask, and I didn't ask it. I mean, you said, Jerry's going to ask me this question, or Jerry's going to make this statement. What is the answer to that unasked question that you, it's like, I need people to know this right now?
I don't know what you were going to ask. I had no idea. I'm like, I don't even know what topic we're going to talk about until I came on and you asked me. And there's like no prep work, but I'm like, what am I talking about today?
That's good. Well, I love these type of conversations because you.
Well, I do too. I'm good with them.
Yeah. But so there's nothing. I kind of hit it all. Like,
I think you hit it all. Yeah, there's nothing that I thought. I didn't, you know what? I didn't have any preconceived ideas of what this would be other than us talking. I did wonder what the topic would be, but it wasn't that important, because whatever you're going to ask me, if I don't know my stuff, then I shouldn't be on your show. Right?
Well, I wanted to hear your story. I wanted the audience who joins us here to hear your story, because I think it's profound, and I think that it really does resonate, whether you're a single mom out there and you're just trying to do music, whether you're a single dad, whether you just are stacked up with, okay, what is going to be my next step? With respect to Deanna, she said, look, I'm going to let go of my job and I'm going to do my dream, and that's going to help me. I mean, whatever that thing is that is inside you, you can go for it. And as she said, you are wired for success. And as she said, you need that abundance mentality. Let's work away the scarcity, and you need a coach. And I can recommend a good one right now. Her name is Deanna Hinsz. Are you a musician?
You know what? I used to play the piano when I was younger. I was trained in classical, and I would compete at guilds, and I love the piano, but I don't have one because of space. And I've thought about getting a keyboard from time to time, but there's something about a piano that a keyboard just doesn't compare when you're trained on that.
I can understand.
And I
real
did play the flute in high
pianists say the same thing. Pianists say the same thing about synthesizers. I
love music, though. Absolutely love music. I love listening to the beats. I like all types. It's fun. I've got an eclectic playlist.
Youngstown, Ohio, though. Youngstown. I mean,
right.
It does that for you.
It does.
But what I was going to say, this is Deanna Hinsz. I was going to say she's an entree musician. I was like, wait a minute, stop. Okay, so she's a quasi entree musician.
There you go.
Visit her at Carbon Silk. She would love to become a consultant and just get into whatever your ideals are, and to coach you appropriately. You definitely need a coach. I'm so grateful that we're friends, and I'm so grateful for the excellent work that she's doing. Reach out to her. My name is Jerry B. I happen to be an entree musician, really, but the most important thing is, so are you. And we'll see you again next time. God bless.